Now from the news team that's covering the Carolinas, this is Channel 9 Eyewitness News at 5.
Right now at 5, powerful storms are pushing through the Carolinas, packed with hail, lightning, and bringing some powerful winds. The line of severe weather has been slowly moving into Charlotte neighborhoods all throughout the afternoon. I'm Erica Bryant.
And I'm Allison Lottis. Our chief meteorologist Steve Udelson is monitoring the impact on your 4th of July plans.
Yeah, also we got this line of storms, which is pretty much along the Catawba River. Let's break it down by neighborhood along Highway 321, Hickory to Lincolnton, and then it scoots south and east toward, say, the Whitewater Center, and then down toward Rock Hill, Richburg, Edgemoor, seeing some pretty heavy rain. Rain rates here over an inch an hour, so there's briefly heavy rain and briefly gusty winds as it comes on in. Moving east at about 20 to 25 miles an hour, heading toward uptown Charlotte about 5:15, Monroe at about 5:30, Harrisburg about 5:45, Concord and Polkton by about 6:10 or so. There are more storms behind it over the Piedmont of Georgia and the upstate of South Carolina, but our latest Futurecast guidance suggests a lot of that slides just to the south of the metro. It's of course being fueled by the heat and humidity. Heat index values in the mid-90s where we haven't seen rain. A lot of grills are about to be lit, and you will want to grab our app from the App Store or Google Play Store if you can't be watching to know where those storms are going to be. Now, they will move out as the evening goes on. I'll have fireworks forecast when I come back.
And before you head out for your 4th of July plans, make sure you use the WSOC TV weather app. It is free to download in the Apple and Google Play stores.
Breaking tonight, a search on the ground, in the air, and on the water for a man police say is armed and dangerous and targeting women joggers.
This is very shocking.
Now at 5, the terrifying attacks and the massive effort to find the man responsible.
We're doing everything we can to make sure that we get this person.
At one point, police told people to get off the Whitewater Center trails this busy 4th of July as officers were out searching for that dangerous suspect.
Here's what we know tonight. Around 7:45 this morning, a female jogger says a man pointed a gun at her on York Road in Steel Creek and tried to force her into his car. Police say an hour later, almost exactly the same thing happened to another woman about 8 miles away on Dixie River Road. Police say they found the suspect's car on fire in some woods near the Whitewater Center, but no sign of him. He's described as a light-skinned Hispanic male between 20 and 30 years old. He has straight black hair and was last seen in a black shirt. Tonight, we have a team of reporters following this massive search.
And we begin with Eyewitness News reporter Blake Hansen, who explains just how many law enforcement resources are now being used in this investigation tonight.
Well, in the last 90 minutes, crews finally removed the car from back about 30 yards in the woods. It was almost all the way to I-85. Check out this new video that we got of that car being taken out. There is very little left of that Mercedes. Nonetheless, investigators spent much of the afternoon going over it with a fine-tooth comb, looking for clues that might point to who this guy is. We could see investigators at one point carrying brown bags away from that car. Police say that this morning they got out here because someone called to report that a car was on fire in the woods. When they got out here, they realized it matched the description of the car in 2 attempted abductions of joggers this morning. That put them on high alert that the suspect might be somewhere around here. We saw officers with rifles out, at times hurrying in different directions. This was bound to be a tough operation, though, to track down the suspect if he was in this area.
It's very complicated when you start looking at an area like we are right now because there are certainly different avenues to get out of here.
It is still unclear if police know exactly who this suspect is. They have been circulating that description that we have shared with you, but few other details have emerged. Live in West Charlotte, Blake Hansen, Channel 9 Eyewitness News.
Blake, thank you. And now we go straight to Eyewitness News reporter Mark Becker, who is live outside of the packed Whitewater Center tonight, where people were actually forced off those trails for a time because of this search. Mark.
Yeah, Erica, there is still a pretty full parking lot here at the Whitewater Center. We have seen a steady stream of cars coming and going in what is one of their biggest days of the year, but today was far from your typical 4th of July here. There were plenty of police on the trails around the Whitewater Center late this morning and early this afternoon as they searched for that suspect who is believed to be around here somewhere. They set up a perimeter with police and highway patrol along I-85 about a mile south of here, watching there while others made their way through the Whitewater Center Center on motorcycles. And at one point, just before noon, they did close the trails here and tell everyone to leave. Shelley Stout and her husband were out hiking here on what is their wedding anniversary, only to have it suddenly interrupted by police.
We'd been out there for maybe 30 minutes or so, and the motorcycle cops came up with the blue lights flashing, and they said, "Get off the trail right now." So we followed their instructions and made our way out. We didn't really know how to get out of there, but we found our way out.
They actually ended up on Morris Chapel Road, didn't know where they were, had to get a ride back here to the Whitewater Center. They made it back safely. Police actually did reopen those Whitewater Center trails early this afternoon, but still no word or sight of that suspect. Reporting live at the Whitewater Center in West Mecklenburg, Mark Becker, Channel 9 Eyewitness News.
Mark, thank you. Coming up the next 90 minutes, we're back in the Steel Creek area where the joggers were attacked, speaking to worried neighbors tonight. And we'll continue to push police for answers about new leads in this huge investigation. We will continue to bring you developments as they come in on WSOCTV.com.
Right now, a 4th of July celebration is underway in Uptown Charlotte ahead of the fireworks show that's expected to draw in thousands to BB&T Ballpark tonight. The Sky Show Street Party is in full swing. And Eyewitness News reporter Joe Bruno is there for us live tonight with what's being done to make sure that this event goes smoothly. Joe?
After a really sweaty afternoon, we got this nice cool breeze here in Uptown. Feels really good. A lot of fun. You can kind of hear the 90s cover band in the background. Alanis Morissette playing right now. Take a look over here. You can see the packed Uptown streets. People playing cornhole. People also coming here for the baseball game. They're just now starting to file into BB&T Ballpark for the big USA versus Cuba baseball game. The city of Charlotte is predicting as many as 100,000 people to be on hand in Romare Bearden Park tonight for the fun. We spotted dozens of people already hanging out, making sure they have a nice spot for the fireworks. The city has invested an incredible amount of resources to make sure tonight goes off to the plan. Spread out throughout the entire park area, we could see CMPD officers patrolling and barriers set up to keep traffic flowing steadily. Tonight's events go until 10 p.m. The party kicks off with the USA baseball team taking on Cuba. People have been hanging out here for hours, including the Boyko family from Ukraine. They plan on heading to the baseball game, watching fireworks, and having a fun night.
We haven't enjoyed like a nice quality family 4th of July in a very long time, so.
Unlike last year, the 4th of July Sky Show is not an extraordinary event. Coming up on Eyewitness News at 6, the extra security resources CMPD has to make sure everyone is safe. Reporting live in Uptown, I'm Joe Bruno, Channel 9 Eyewitness News.
Thanks, Joe. North Korea claims it successfully tested an intercontinental ballistic missile. If the launch was indeed an intercontinental missile, it would be considered a game changer because of its longer range. Analysts say the missile tested yesterday could be powerful enough to reach Alaska. U.S. officials, however, say the missile does not pose a threat to North America. Eyewitness News reporter Paul Boyd spoke with a retired lieutenant general tonight at 6, what he thinks this missile is capable of and why Americans should be paying attention. New tonight, the Hamlet city manager is addressing concerns and apologizing for the cancellation of the city's 4th of July activities. The city canceled its events after receiving multiple threats of violence targeted at the celebration. Jonathan Blanton says in part, quote, "We certainly can't risk the lives of thousands of innocent people. I apologize for the great inconvenience this may have caused many of you."
Tonight, police have charged this man in Charlotte's 49th homicide of this year. Police say that the deadly shooting happened along Atkins Ridge Drive in the University City area last night. Eyewitness News reporter Glenn Counts has learned that this may be a case of domestic violence. Glenn?
Well, Erica, police didn't have to look very far to find the suspect in this case. He didn't leave the scene because officers thought they were responding to a suicide. Once investigators dug deeper, they determined that this was a domestic violence-related homicide. It's an all too familiar scene in Charlotte. Police cars, crime scene tape, and a neighborhood in shock. Last night, 63-year-old Harold Jones was shot and killed. 22-year-old Daryl Roby was arrested for murder. Police say the two men are related. Neighbors tell us they are stepfather and son.
It is a tragedy that occurs far too often in Charlotte and across the country.
Ron Kimball is a former assistant city manager and a strong advocate fighting domestic violence. His daughter was murdered 5 years ago by an ex-boyfriend. Kimball says that despite all the education efforts, domestic violence is increasing.
Domestic violence can be between two brothers, can be between a father and a son, it can be between a stepfather, stepson.
Charlotte murders are galloping along at a clip that has doubled last year's. Domestic violence is fueling the increase. Right now we stand at 49. Police say that 11 of the murders were domestic related. That does not include last night's or the one before it, which could easily bring that total to 13, which easily constitutes the largest segment. Well, police tell us that the two men got into an altercation. They're not sure what sparked it. They are also not sure how long they were angry at each other. Now, residents describe Jones as a great neighbor, and they say that he will be truly missed. Reporting live from the Law Enforcement Center, Glenn Counts, Channel 9 Eyewitness News.
We are following breaking news right now out of West Charlotte. There's a heavy police presence along Freedom Drive and Ashley Road. Come take a look. These are live images where we're seeing about 5 CMPD cars on the side of the road. It looks like they're blocking off that parking lot. We're working to find out more details from police, and we're asking if anyone has been injured or if any arrests have been made. We'll keep you updated. The Charlotte Fire Department is still investigating if fireworks are to blame for an overnight fire. It happened around 2 this morning at an apartment complex under construction in Ballantyne. We're told construction debris inside a dumpster on the roof caught on fire, but thankfully it did not spread to the rest of the building on Community House Road, and no one was hurt.
This weekend, friends and family will say goodbye to a father and son, both killed in a crash last week. Investigators say Ignacio Cordova crossed the center line of Steel Creek Road on Friday, just before the crash that killed Cordova and his son, Adrian. His daughter, Jalea, is still in critical condition at the hospital. A viewing is scheduled for Saturday at 11 a.m. at Sossaman Funeral Home and Crematory Center in Morganton. A funeral mass will follow at 1 p.m.
Gas prices are the lowest they've been in more than a decade, and drivers are taking advantage of those prices this 4th of July holiday.
Exactly. According to AAA, the average price of gas nationwide is at $2.23 a gallon. The last time prices were this low during Independence Day was back in 2005. South Carolina still has the cheapest average gas price in the country at $1.90 a gallon, despite a 2-cent increase in gas taxes in the Palmetto State. The average price right now in North Carolina is $2.07, and here in Charlotte, drivers are paying about $2.05 per gallon. AAA Carolinas predicts about 1.8 million people will be traveling over this July 4th holiday. That's about 1.2 million in North Carolina and 630,000 in South Carolina.
Just in time for all the barbecues, we're tracking rain. This is the view from our Charlotte Tower Cam. I'll show you a live early warning Doppler 9 and whether or not we're going to be in for a rainout tonight.
And it's like Uber, but for kids. The company that's now in Charlotte that says it will take your children to practices or appointments if you can't.
Why would you send your kid in a car with a stranger?
The steps the company says it's taking to make sure that your children are safe.
Celebrating Independence Day for the first time as Americans, 25 people were naturalized in East Charlotte today, while one man waited 30 years to do it.
This Independence Day was extra special for one group in Charlotte.
Today they took an oath to become citizens of the United States. Eyewitness News anchor John Paul talked to some who waited decades for this day.
For many people, today is all about parades, maybe fireworks, but for 25 people here in East Charlotte, July 4th is life-changing.
This is one of the happiest days in my life. I'm very excited and honored to be an American, and it's a big day for me.
For Richard Admani, this day is 30 years in the making. He's from Jordan, but as of 11 this morning, with that oath, he's a citizen of the United States.
My heart is American, but I wasn't a citizen.
He tells me recent issues involving immigration and the travel ban now in effect weighed on his mind, but now he can sleep easier.
It's something I don't have to think about it when I go to bed.
This is the third year for the naturalization ceremony at the Charlotte Museum of History. The color guard representing some of this country's earliest immigrants.
So this is a wonderful place to celebrate immigration as well as the birth of the United States.
Congratulations, you are now United States citizens.
Andres Palacios was excited to finally call himself a citizen, but his dad just couldn't contain himself.
I am the father.
Interrupting our interview to tell us this.
Yes, very happy right now. This USA is beautiful place, a good opportunity for my family, for me.
Palacios told us immigration's on his mind as well, and he looks forward to having a voice.
Be able to vote.
Oh,
Yeah, change up the whole thing with Trump and whatnot.
65 ceremonies just like this one took place across the country. 15,000 people became Americans today. In East Charlotte, John Paul, Channel 9 Eyewitness News.
More than 16 different countries were represented at today's ceremony.
Right now, we want to show you this live look from our camera of this billowing smoke. This is the view right now along North Tryon at Atando. Again, crews are out there working on this fire. Inbound Tryon is shut down right now. We see multiple fire crews out there. I see at least 4 fire engines on scene. Of course, we're going to gather more details about what this structure is, what's on fire, and if anyone has been injured. We'll bring you updates as soon as we learn more. The town of Cornelius held a special dedication today for a local war veteran. A statue was unveiled of Corporal Jerry Crump, a recipient of the Purple Heart and the Congressional Medal of Honor. The statue serves as a symbol of all veterans who served in all of our wars.
It's a story about his commitment to his community, his love of his family, his love of his community, his love of his church. He was truly an American in all senses of the word.
Master Sergeant Crump is one of only a few in Mecklenburg County to receive this award.
There have been more sightings of black bears in our area, this time in the southern part of Union County. The Wingate Volunteer Fire Department got several calls of a black bear in the area near Wolf Pond Road and the Rock Rest community. Experts advise keeping trash cans indoors and keep an eye on kids and pets while outside. Let's take a look from our Speedway camera here. Chief Meteorologist Steve Udelson tracking any chances that our 4th of July activities this evening could be in jeopardy if we see any more storms, and you're tracking some on the radar now.
Yeah, we are, Allison. Approaching uptown, actually, over the airport, some rain and a little bit of thunder. Also up toward Paw Creek and Mountain Island Lake. Some pretty heavy rain with this cell right out Highway 16. And then you follow that all the way back toward Newton, almost on top of Maiden, some pretty heavy rain. Heaviest band of rain we could see, and a good cluster of lightning just south of I-485 and in the Ballantyne area out to about Providence Road. And that extends south all the way down Providence Road on toward the Waxhaw area. Right now, only about 10 cloud to ground strikes, but it looks like that count has been increasing. And the rain is very heavy as well at about 1 inch an hour. Thin band, no more than about 5 miles wide, but the leading edge, and believe me, you'll know when it gets to you, will be arriving in Monroe about 5:40, Harrisburg about 5:50, Marshall just after 6 o'clock, New Salem about 6:20, and Polkton about 6:30. And again, the leading edge is where all the thunder and lightning is, and also some gustier winds. There are no warnings at this point, but I wouldn't be surprised to see 30-mile-an-hour winds at least when that initial band comes in. More storms about 100 or so miles west of Charlotte, back in the upstate of South Carolina. I want to show you our newly updated futurecast, which shows those showers diminishing as they move through the upstate. What's now over Charlotte dies out. A couple of mountain showers as we head toward fireworks time, but you know what? Most neighborhoods are probably going to be able to get their fireworks in just fine. So the forecast as we head through this evening, a few thunderstorms. I'd say no more than a 20% chance of rain. That's pretty good for this time of year as temperatures fall back down out of the 80s into the 70s. By the time we get up tomorrow morning, low 70s in the Charlotte area, 60s from I-40 north into the mountains. Tomorrow's futurecast, about as similar as it was during the day today. We start out with partly sunny skies, a couple of mountain showers around lunchtime, better chance in the afternoon and early evening, but only about 30%, a fairly typical early July day. Also typical is the fact that these showers will die out after sunset. We're getting into more of a midsummer-like pattern, something we haven't had really all summer. We'll be in the mid-80s at lunchtime, pushing 90 if not better tomorrow afternoon. Heat index values above that and that 30% chance of rain. Neighborhood-specific forecast for Gastonia. Watch out for a late-day storm. We'll be in the lower 90s. Heat index in the mid-90s and on toward Mint Hill. Plenty of steam heat with highs in the low to mid 90s. As you look down the road toward late week and the weekend, the thing you'll notice is temperatures stay about the same, but rain chances begin to drop off. Saturday and Sunday, we're talking about no more than a 10% chance of rain. That is unusually low for July.
Okay, thank you very much, Steve. We've got some breaking news. We want to get back to these live pictures from North Tryon Street, where we are following this big fire that's causing a lot of smoke in the area. This is the 3100 block of North Tryon Street. Here's what we've learned from Charlotte Fire. This is a commercial structure. When they got to the scene, there was heavy fire there. They were called there around 5:15, so less than 10 minutes ago. This fire is happening in a detached building on site, so there is no extension into the main building. We're still asking how this fire started, if anyone was in that detached building, but we can't see. It looks like the smoke is starting to lessen, and they are getting this under control as they have the big ladder trucks there. And part of Tryon Street, North Tryon Street, is closed at this point as they battle this fire.
A service like Uber that picks up children is coming to Charlotte.
That's too young.
Why some parents are worried that it's putting kids in a risky situation. Plus,
several local leaders joined hundreds of residents in one of the largest Independence Day parades in our area. The safety measures they considered before attending the event.
And the first town in North Carolina now allowing restaurants to sell alcohol earlier on Sundays. Alcohol will be sold 2 hours earlier in one North Carolina town. Carrboro Town Council voted last night to allow Sunday morning alcohol sales there. This is the first town in the state to approve the change since Governor Roy Cooper signed the brunch bill into law. The brunch bill allows restaurants and grocery stores to sell alcohol at 10 a.m. instead of noon, but it's up to each city and county to pass its own ordinance allowing that change. Charlotte City Council has the week off for the 4th of July holiday, but they tell us they want to take a vote when they return. Mayor Jennifer Roberts did tell us she supports this bill.
We're working right now on all news stories for you ahead at 5:30. There's a service that picks up your children. It's being called the Uber for kids. We're asking how this company plans to make sure that it's safe. Plus,
a teen on the run accused of breaking into a home and shooting someone inside.
I thought it was just firecrackers.
How police are trying to track the suspect down.
And we're following breaking news after police say a man tried to abduct 2 joggers. We are in that neighborhood as officers search for the suspect.
We're also staying on top of this breaking news right now in North Charlotte, where firefighters battled heavy flames at a commercial building here. You still see a little bit of smoke coming up there on the left side of your screen. We have learned that they have this under control. It took them about 14 minutes, but we will have an update for you next. Back now live, we continue to watch the breaking news in North Charlotte. The Charlotte Fire Department now says this fire on North Tryon is under control. Also, Charlotte Fire tweeting out that currently there are no injuries to report in all of this, so that's good news. It took 27 firefighters about 14 minutes to put out the flames. When we first took the shot, a huge plume of billowing smoke. But again, you're looking at live pictures right now from the 3100 block along North Tryon Street. That fire is in a detached building there, but it does look like they have it under control.
Now check out this video of what Erica just mentioned, the huge clouds of black smoke, even some flames you can see there just a few minutes ago. Inbound North Tryon, though, is still shut down. Now at 5:30, we're using Charlotte's most powerful radar to track storms impacting your holiday. We've been monitoring this severe weather as it makes a run at Charlotte this evening.
That's right. So we head to our chief meteorologist, Steve Udelson, who's mapping out the greatest threats in your neighborhood for your outdoor activities tonight. Steve.
Yeah, Erica, so we're talking about heavy rain being the greatest threat for sure. Also some cloud to ground lightning, which no one wants to be outside in. Got some rain just outside of Uptown. We'll graze Uptown in about the next 10-15 minutes between Uptown and the South Park area. South End, Dilworth, Sedgefield, Plaza Midwood, Myers Park, all going to see some moderate rain. Rain rates here about a ½ inch an hour. A heavier shower has plunked itself over Mountain Island Lake, Latta Plantation. And then as you work your way down to the south, we're talking about rain rates here upwards of about 1 inch an hour. And then south of town, we're seeing some rain, as you can see, along Providence Road, and then just east of Providence on toward about the area of Monroe Road. We're talking about 15 or so cloud-to-ground lightning strikes and very heavy rain sliding to the east now. It's going to continue to push through Wesley Chapel. It's on Mineral Springs. It's just past east of Waxhaw. And again, all that sliding to the east. Lancaster seeing a pretty good cluster of lightning in here as well. We tracked that whole line east at about 20 miles an hour through Indian Trail. Now Monroe in about 15 minutes. Wingate just before 6, Marshall a little bit after, Mount Croghan about 6:30, and Polkton a little bit after that. As far as this evening goes, we will see some scattered showers and storms, but for the 4th of July, most neighborhoods, by the time we kick off fireworks about 9:15, I think should be dry, and that is certainly welcome news. I'll be tracking that trend through this evening.
Thank you, Steve. Right now, I want to show you this view of Romare Bearden Park, where people are beginning to flood into the area of uptown Charlotte for tonight's 4th of July fireworks show. Officials are expecting up to 100,000 people to be in the park tonight, but again, as you see, they're already trying to start to get in place. If you plan to stay at home tonight, not going out to try to avoid the crowds, you can watch a live stream of the uptown fireworks on our website, WSOCTV.com. You'll see a link there on our website starting at 9:30 tonight.
We're staying on top of breaking news now at 5:30. A desperate manhunt for a man police say tried to abduct women while they were on their morning runs.
That's scary to think that it would even be around in this area.
Police say that suspect tried to force 2 women into his car at gunpoint this morning.
And tonight we've learned that the trails at the Whitewater Center are now back open after police scoured that area looking for any sign of the suspect involved. Police say they called in extra resources with officers in the air and on the ground. They say they eventually found the vehicle that the man was in on fire in the woods nearby. But they say tonight that suspect is still on the run and armed and dangerous after targeting 2 women about 8 miles apart in Steel Creek. Tonight, Eyewitness News reporter Tina Terry went back to that area where neighbors are now on edge.
Well, yes, those women are safe tonight because rather than getting into the suspect's car, they chose to run away. And tonight, police are warning women in this area to do the exact same thing if they are confronted by that suspect.
It's just scary to think about it be happening on the 4th of July.
Women out enjoying their holiday with a walk were alarmed by the news. Around 7:45 this morning, police say a man driving an older model Mercedes-Benz approached a woman here on York Road in Steel Creek, pointed a gun, and demanded her to get in the car. She ran and called 911. An hour later, 8 miles away, police say the same man drove up to another woman jogging here on Dixie River Road, pulled out a gun, and tried to abduct her. She ran off too.
This is very shocking.
Elton Troutman started getting updates on his neighborhood's next door application as soon as it happened, warning them to be on the lookout for that Mercedes and to call police if they spotted it.
This suspect is considered armed and dangerous.
Police say they eventually found the Benz on fire near I-85, but they continued to search for the suspect. For now, some neighbors are on edge.
I don't even know what I would do in that kind of situation. It's scary to think about.
As officers investigate, they're warning the public to use caution.
Jog with a companion or a group, or walk with a companion or a group.
And again, officers say if you find yourself in a similar situation, do not ever get inside of the car. If you have any information that can help police find the suspect, call CMPD. Reporting live from Steel Creek tonight, Tina Terry, Channel 9 Eyewitness News.
Tina, thank you. Again, police are searching for a light-skinned Hispanic man described by the victims. He's between 20 and 30 years old with straight black hair and was last seen in a black shirt. Coming up at 6, we're staying on top of the massive search for him and the widespread impact across Charlotte this busy holiday.
Right now, police in Kannapolis are searching for this 18-year-old. They say he's wanted for a shooting that happened last night. It all happened around midnight at the West Green Apartments. And tonight, anchor Liz Foster spoke to neighbors who are worried that that suspect is still on the run. Liz?
Officers working on this holiday have been looking for the suspect but haven't found him. Meanwhile, neighbors who live less than 2 miles from here thought the gunshots were fireworks. Around midnight, neighbors in and around West Green Apartments in Kannapolis heard what they thought were fireworks.
I heard about 8 or 9 shots, but I thought it was firecrackers.
But police say this man, 18-year-old Antonio Davis, who hasn't been arrested, broke into an apartment and shot someone.
Kids play here all the time. Like, it's sad that somebody got shot.
The victim is at the hospital in stable condition. Police told me the suspect and victim know each other, and the shooting stemmed from an incident earlier in the day. They wouldn't go into detail about what that incident was. Police have been looking for Davis all day. He's facing charges for assault with a deadly weapon with intent to kill and burglary.
They find him, I hope it's very soon. Like, the kids don't need to be scared to come out and play.
There is a reward through Crime Stoppers for any information that leads police to arrest Antonio Davis. Live in Kannapolis, Liz Foster, Channel 9 Eyewitness News.
Liz, thank you. Now we've got this photo back up so you can get another look at Davis. We've also posted his mugshot on our website, WSOCTV.com. If you have seen him, call Kannapolis Police.
President Donald Trump is getting ready for his first face-to-face meeting with Russian President Vladimir Putin. The meeting is set for Friday at the G20 summit in Germany. The White House says there's no specific agenda, so it's not clear if the two will discuss the investigation into Russia meddling in the U.S. election. The G20 summit is set for Friday and Saturday.
Tonight, we're still pushing Mooresville police for more answers about a child's death after the girl was found unresponsive in a car. On Saturday afternoon, police say a group of children were driven to a park. They were brought back to the neighborhood off North Main Street. Well, sometime after that, the girl was found. She died at the hospital. Police have not yet decided if there will be any charges.
Tomorrow, a CMS middle school teacher will be in court accused of sex crimes with a 13-year-old student. We told you that police arrested Charles Noss on Saturday. They say he had inappropriate contact with the boy during a tutoring session at his home last Tuesday. A CMS spokesperson told us the district's HR department is investigating.
A man says that he was attacked and robbed by a group of people in Kannapolis. The victim told the police he was walking near North Cannon Boulevard last Thursday night when 4 people assaulted him. Police say the suspects took the man's shoes, baseball hat, and his phone. So far, no arrests have been made. A North Carolina Central University graduate was honored today for his heroic actions during a shooting in Alexandria, Virginia. The D.C. Society Sons of the American Revolution presented David Bailey with the Law Enforcement Commendations Medal. You might remember last month a man opened fire during a congressional baseball practice, injuring 4 people, including Representative Steve Scalise. Bailey was able to stop that shooter.
After that shooting in Virginia, many lawmakers voiced concerns about their own safety. Today, Congresswoman Alma Adams was one of hundreds of people who attended the annual Hickory Grove Parade in East Charlotte. And Eyewitness News reporter Gina Esposito asked her about any security measures she's considered.
More than a dozen local leaders participate in the annual parade, and I asked them what safety measures they took before attending the event. The annual Hickory Grove Parade drew in local leaders fighting for all types of local offices.
Tell them they're voting for me.
Like those running for Charlotte's mayor. And seats on Charlotte City Council.
City Council District 5. Happy 4th. Eric Erickson for City Council District 2. East Side.
Law enforcement, and the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Board of Education. With all these high-profile people, CMPD officers were lined up along the parade's route. It started at the Hickory Grove Rec Center and ended at the Grove Church on East W.T. Harris for the block party.
So hopefully we'll all be safe today and things will go as planned.
Representative Alma Adams said for big events like this, she coordinates with CMPD before resorting to private security. Adams said she wasn't concerned about today.
Unless it's a circumstance that we feel that, where we need to have personal security. But yeah, we're always watching and trying to make sure that we're careful.
It was a similar thought from Joyce Waddell, who also didn't bring in an extra set of eyes.
We have adequate security. We have adequate policemen circulating all of the time.
For this spectator of more than 30 years, the police presence never crossed her mind. She was just glad to see the local candidates out in the community.
I think that's what people should do that run for office.
because sometimes you don't know who they are.
Representative Alma Adams also told me she plans to talk about security at her office sometime this week. In East Charlotte, Gina Esposito, Channel 9 Eyewitness News.
Right now, we're following breaking news for you in Mint Hill, where police are investigating a shooting. Now, we can tell you that officers both from Mint Hill and CMPD are on the scene right now along Oak Drive off of Margaret Wallace and Idlewild. We have Eyewitness News reporter Paul Boyd there on the scene talking to witnesses who say that they heard about 3 gunshots, and it looks like there's a person in the back of an ambulance on scene being treated right now. And we're hearing that their injuries do not appear to be life-threatening at this time. But again, we're checking with officials, with the police, to find out if a shooter has been caught and the seriousness of those injuries. We'll update you as soon as we learn more.
Tracking the band of showers and storms pushing through the Charlotte area now and what may come through later on tonight.
A growing number of close calls at light rail crossings. Coming up at 6, what officials say is causing the dangerous run-ins.
It's being billed as an Uber for kids, the driving service to drive your kids. But is it safe? I'm asking the company how they're screening for predators.
It's being called the Uber for kids. Now the ride service Go-Kart, which picks up children to take them to appointments or practices, is here in Charlotte.
Tonight, Channel 9 has learned that parents are already booking drivers to take their children to after-school activities next month. And all new this hour, Eyewitness News reporter Mark Barber asked the owners whether this is safe.
The driving service is for kids between 6 and 17. Some busy parents say they'd use it to run their kids to things like their games and their appointments. But other parents say despite all the conveniences, they'd be too concerned about who's behind the wheel.
A child that's 6 years old, it wouldn't matter to me what the vetting process is. It just wouldn't be an idea that was acceptable to me.
While Antoine Ford wouldn't let the new driving service, Go-Kart, pick up his children, some parents are already signing up.
I can understand someone doing that. As a matter of fact, I have a family member who thought about doing it.
The driving service launched in Raleigh last year and took off in Charlotte a couple weeks ago. Men and women can drive for the service, but first they have to clear their interview with the owner of the company, Stacy Shannon. The mother of 3 says drivers have to have 5 years of childcare experience and clear a thorough 7-year federal and multi-jurisdictional background check.
If they've sneezed, I have seen it on their background check.
When I asked Shannon if she's doing anything to protect children from predators who might slip through the cracks, she said she's planning to install cameras and tracking devices in every car.
For my measuring stick is like, is this someone who I would trust, with my own children? And the answer is absolutely yes, with every single one that I choose.
Shannon tells me that they haven't had any problems with any of their drivers in Raleigh since they launched back in September. She says right now they have 5 drivers on the road here in Charlotte, and she hopes to hire another 10 by the time school starts next month. From Freedom Park, Mark Barber, Channel 9 Eyewitness News.
Thanks, Mark. And for a link to more information about the driving services vetting process and how parents can sign up to book drivers, visit our website, WSOCTV.com. You can also share your thoughts about this service on our Facebook page. What do you think? Like WSOC TV and search for this story.
More breaking news now to update you on out of West Charlotte at this hour. Earlier at 5 o'clock, we told you about a heavy police presence along Freedom Drive and Ashley Road. Well, police just told us that those officers there were investigating a report about a shooting in the area. Officers telling us they could not find anyone who had been shot. They could not find anyone with a gun either, so now they are clearing that scene. In the meantime, at that exact same location, intersection at Freedom Drive and Ashley, police just sent us information about a deadly crash. The crash actually happened last night around 8:30. A man was hit in that area while crossing the road. He died today at the hospital. Now again, these 2 incidents are not related. They just happen to occur at the very same intersection.
A driver is recovering tonight after they hit a tree that had fallen across a road in Huntersville. Take a look at your television. You can see the car's windshield was smashed. This happened overnight on Kearns Road, which is near McCoy Road and Mount Holly Huntersville Road. Chief Meteorologist Steve Udelson in Severe Weather Center 9. As we take a look at our Charlotte camera, we see some pretty nasty looking clouds, and you've been tracking rain coming this way.
Yeah, Allison, that rain that you saw on the tower cam is what's here in southwest Charlotte. Shades of yellow, rain rates of about 1/4 to 1/2 inch an hour. Thankfully, it has weakened, and a lot of the lightning, if not all the lightning, has gone out of that batch. We still have some lightning, however, on the east side of town, not far from our radar site. This is between Matthews and Mint Hill along Highway 51 and I-485. Some pretty heavy rain here, and again, a little bit of lightning left over. Hemby Bridge down toward the Wesley Chapel area, almost to Unionville, and it extends south into Lancaster County. One long line. Rain rates here over 1 inch an hour, and this is where the most lightning is. As far as that area north of town, it's just rain. Paw Creek, Whitewater Center, Belmont, Mount Holly. The rain is ending in Latta Plantation and Mountain Island Lake. The slow drive from Charlotte up toward Lake Norman along I-77 because of that rain. We'll track that leading edge to the east at about 20 miles an hour. I'm not as concerned about damaging wind as I am about briefly heavy rain. That'll be the greatest threat from this as it comes in. Moving into Harrisburg just after 6, Marshville, Polkton, 6:15 to 6:30, Mount Croghan a little before 7. There are showers and storms over the upstate of South Carolina, as I shared with you at the top of the broadcast. All of our guidance suggests this will weaken as it tries to push to the east. I'll be watching for that trend because we have a lot of folks getting set to be outside for evening barbecues and then fireworks displays. Clearly, you can see where it's rain cooled. Uptown 76, Gastonia 73. Where we haven't seen a drop, still 90 in Chesterfield and 90 in nearby Concord. 70s, of course, as you head on out toward the high country. So as we head through this evening, fireworks forecast calls for rain chances to diminish as we head toward fireworks time. Good news. Temperatures will be falling through the lower 80s. We're talking about lower 70s when you get up early tomorrow morning with 60s from I-40 into the high country. Again, tomorrow, this afternoon's UV index is very high. Repeat performance tomorrow. All it takes this time of year, literally, is 10 to 15 minutes to damage your skin. We want you 9 Sun Smart. That means sunscreen and covering up whenever you can. Tomorrow's Futurecast starts out like today's. Morning sunshine, few showers around lunchtime, better chance during the afternoon and early evening, and maybe a few later night showers before it begins to wind on down. A very typical early to midsummer pattern. We're talking about a 30% chance of late day storms in the Charlotte area, but not before we hit 90 again. Heat index values above that. I'll show you at 6 o'clock what the heat index will look like. In Pageland, I'm forecasting a high of 94. Heat index pushing the upper 90s, and in Fort Mill, lower 90s tomorrow. Let's hope we get a cooling thunderstorm. As we head through the next several days, we're talking about temperatures starting to cool down just a little bit and rain chances dropping. Good news as we head toward the weekend. 5-day forecast talking about temperatures in the lower 90s, but how about by Sunday? Upper 80s, a little bit lower humidity. A welcome break. We don't often see those in July.
No, but I'll take it. Thank you very much, Steve.
An armed man suspected of trying to abduct 2 joggers hides his car in these woods, sparking a manhunt at the Whitewater Center.
This suspect is considered armed and dangerous.
Next at 6, the latest clues as investigators try to track him down.
Plus, another launch. Why North Korea's latest missile test was the most dangerous yet for the United States. We're back now live with more breaking news. We just confirmed that Mint Hill police are investigating an incident where a man who was in a red vehicle was set up through social media to meet people to buy a cell phone, and he was met by 4 armed men.
That's right. We're told 3 of them had short hair, 1 with dreadlocks. We're told that he was punched. The man tried to take off in the red car, and we're told 3 shots were fired. Our reporter Paul Boyd is there on the scene in Mint Hill, speaking with witnesses and with police. We're trying to ask the officers there the condition of the person who may have been injured in this robbery, and if they have any more information about the 4 armed men involved in this. But again, the latest we're hearing confirmed from Mint Hill police is they are investigating this arrangement through social media regarding the purchase of a cell phone that may have turned into an attempted robbery and possibly a shooting. Reporter Paul Boyd gathering the latest there in Mint Hill. We'll keep you updated here on Channel 9 and WSOCTV.com. New Jersey state-run beaches are back open after Governor Chris Christie signed the state's budget overnight. Now, this comes after pictures showed him on a state beach that was closed to the public over the weekend. The governor tried to defend his actions by saying he was staying at the governor's beach house and can be there whenever he wants. Residents say they're furious.
It was like,
you can go to the beach and regular people can't.
In the end, the fact that this is resolved and the changes that we've made will be what people will remember, not some of the, BS kind of gotcha journalism.
Christie says he told residents he would be at the beach regardless of a budget shutdown.
Tonight, authorities are still investigating after a taxi driver crashed into a group of fellow cab drivers near Boston's Logan International Airport. We first told you about this story yesterday afternoon, and since then, authorities say they have seized the taxi that was involved. They believe that this crash was an accident. They have not filed any charges.
Police closed trails at the Whitewater Center as they search for the suspect who tried to abduct 2 women at gunpoint. The latest on the search and the investigation.
Plus, train riders in Charlotte put at risk. Channel 9 digs into the dangerous close calls with drivers and what officials say is causing them.